I'm Caz, and I'm back once again to chat about two exciting Riveters matches. Liz is on vacation this week, so I'm taking over hosting duties today, and thankfully Peter has agreed to join me to discuss these matches. How you doing today, Peter?
Uh, I'm doing all right. Working retail can definitely drain you, but I'm glad to talk about Riveter soccer, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, yes, well, good to have you. So we've got two games to discuss today. We had the Thursday game at Erie, and then of course we have the home game from Sunday against Buffalo. We'll start off with the Erie game since that one was first. Generally, what were your thoughts on the match?
I mean, after rewatching the game, there were a lot of offsides calls, and I mean, sure, it's soccer, so that happens a lot. But as we were talking before the show started, some of them were a bit ridiculous. But I mean, it was a really weird slip up at the end of stoppage time. But hey, I mean, we got a draw, so at least it wasn't a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was definitely a tough to give up the 2 points at the end of the game with that draw. It was just, I mean, I don't know that there was anything that anybody could have done to stop that goal. It was just like
It was
the way
interesting.
that it went in. Yeah, it had eyes for the back of the net, and that was that. I think the only issue is for me with the Erie goal is that they shouldn't have even had the free kick in the first place. It was such a small tug on the jersey. I mean, like
Fair, but it was a tug. So
sure, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was definitely a soft call. I can accept that it was called, but it very much was a soft call.
sure.
Um, but we did have a goal of our own early in the second half.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Abby, who had to throw in to Neighbors, who flicked it over the defender's head onto Alexis Thailand, who's been on an incredible tear lately, and crossed it right into the box to D'Amico, and she put it right past the keeper. It was a great goal.
Yeah, it was a textbook cross.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Yeah.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was just great. I feel like throughout the game, though, we had the Riveters had control of the game for the most part. I mean, really, I feel like that the goal at the end was Erie's best chance.
Yeah, I could go along with that. I mean, I think that could attest to the Riveters defense when it comes to like Erie not really having like the greatest chance until stoppage time. Um, yeah, I mean, shout out to Scott Gibson and how they run defense over there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think just I mean that the two center backs have just been. I mean, they played every single minute. Piper and Natalie, they have played every single second of of this team's season so far. Even that Wednesday Friday back to back, they played all 90 minutes in both of those. Um, and so the fact that they have still been going and still been just so good is really impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of used to it when it comes to the college atmosphere and having sometimes two games in a week, but usually going week after week after week. But
Yeah.
it is more impressive because, like you said, it's a Wednesday than Friday game. That's like what 2 days, not even a day of rest.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Kickoff was 48 hours apart.
yeah, like that's way more impressive than having a week break and then play.
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that they were able to go and I mean, obviously that Cleveland game ended up being what it was, but yeah, for this week, I just think it was a good turnaround for them. So we can get into the top three for our choices for this game. I'll kick it off. I had Alexis Thailand as my top. She found her way onto the stat sheet. That was her third straight match, getting either a goal or an assist. She's consistently a threat on and off the ball. For number two, I think this is where we might have a difference. I had D'Amico. She got the goal, obviously, also on a 3-game streak, and just strong throughout as she has been all season. And then the third spot is kind of where I had a lot of open, questions. Personally, I think that it should be Abby Hugh. She, in this game especially, basically was like a Swiss Army knife. She played, I think, 3 different positions throughout the course of this game. I think she started as a defensive mid, kind of taking Tessa's spot on the field. Then at the beginning of the second half, they slotted her into like a center back alongside Piper and Natalie, and then later on in the second half, she kind of pushed that back out to the wing where she had been playing most of the season. But she just was all over the place. It was her throw in that led to the goal. So yeah, she would be my third. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be basic here, and I have to say D'Amico would be my number 1 because, well, she got the goal.
Sure.
So I'll have to go with that. But I could definitely go with Thailinda as my number 2. Like you said, she's been contributing throughout the whole entire season with getting a goal and assist. And I could definitely go along with that. But my number 3 would definitely, I could, like with you, when it comes to the third spot, you could be generous and have like an open debate around many of that, but I have to go with Piper Caulfield, mainly just because how she's like similar to Thailinda when it comes to just being a contributor the whole entire season. I think when it comes to this game and of course the Buffalo game we're going to talk about, she's definitely contributed on the field in more ways than one.
Yeah. I mean, I had Piper as one of my alternatives for the third spot. It's basically every game I've had, it's been like, maybe whoever gets a goal or an assist or whatever up top, and then like the second and third spots, it's just kind of between Desora, Caulfield, Vozar, Pauline, normally, just some combination of those players. So let's say I'll grant you. I'll let you have yours. I'll say we'll go with Olivia D'Amico 1, Alexis Thailinda 2, and we can do Piper 3.
All right. Yeah, sure. That works.
All right. All right. So yeah. So we'll go with those 3 for our 1, 2, and 3 then. And any other thoughts about the Erie game?
Besides some of the offside calls, I really don't want to think about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the hard thing with that game was there were both weird offside calls that the refs called, but there were also offside calls that were absolutely correct. Like there were a couple of times in person that
it's offside.
I looked at it and I was like, why on earth did you pass that ball? Like it was so blatantly obvious that like 2 or 3 of them even were offside and they still passed it. And it was like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, I think the criticism of those can really differ from when you're watching it or when you're in person. But
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, especially I know I went back and rewatched the game and that broadcast was rough. so it was definitely not easy to see anything on that broadcast. But yeah, I happened to have a couple because I was there at the game in person, and a couple of those angles were just definitely offside, but others were just awful calls. But I guess that's the way it goes at this level sometimes. But yeah, so we will take that game then, and we'll move on to the Sunday game, the Riveters versus Buffalo at home. And to start that, we'll kick it off to Mondo for his Mondo moment.
It's time for Mondo's moment, the top moment of the game from the Mandalorian.
Our Mondo moment from the Riveters match against FC Buffalo comes in the 41st minute when Tanum Nelson taps in a beautiful goal for her 3rd and the hat trick, becoming the first player in Riveters history to score a hat trick. This is the way.
This has been Mondo's moment.
So yeah, I'll let you kick things off for our talk. Thoughts on the Buffalo game?
Well, first I have to talk about the Mondo moment because I think the 3rd goal, while it is a great one for like obviously reasons of making history and whatnot, I think the first one was obviously the best one because that finally got the crowd going. And after a rain delay, like it was great to see a goal. And sure, like the 3rd one just made the cherry on top. But to go along to the game, however, As we talked about the Riveters defense earlier, this was a pinnacle of it. This was the absolute best case scenario with them. I think when it comes to Buffalo, they had the possession and they did get it to the box a couple of times, but they didn't get really accurate shots off there. And I want to mention that when it comes to how the Riveters handled FC Buffalo onto the sides, FC Buffalo pretty much capitulated when it comes to the defense on the side there. It was a really tremendous effort by the Riveters team as a whole, I think. And hey, we got the first hat trick, or I guess should it be a bandana since for Riveters? I don't know, but hey, we got the hat trick, we got the win, and that's what matters most.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I mean, any one of the goals, I think, honestly, can be the best moment of the game. I agree that the first goal obviously gets everyone going, but yeah, in terms of historic moments, the third goal is definitely kind of the bigger moment overall. Tanum Nelson also got the Mongols bump after speaking to Mike this week. Continues, the legend continues. And honestly, as a fan of the organization, I can't think of the last. It took me a while to think of the last time that there was a hat trick scored by a Pittsburgh soccer player.
Can I ask when that was? Because
yes,
since following the team since the Open Cup, or rather the 2023 season, I can't think of that anytime.
Yeah, so I think, and someone can fact check me on this, but I think that the last time may have been Nico Brett in the 2019 7-0 win over Birmingham in the first round of the playoffs.
You said
7-0. Yeah, 7-0. Yes.
That's the other team. We're talking about the Riveters now.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so I think that's the last time that a hat trick was scored at Highmark. So just so it's been a long time for it to happen for the Riveters in their first season is great. That was definitely a lot of fun. That first half was great, especially them scoring towards the Steel Army. It's always fun having them right there. And then, I think in the second half, Buffalo had a couple of good chances, but for the most part, they, again, like you said, the defense just shut them down. There was no real issues. Ultimately,
Pauline was there every time. Every time.
Yeah, I think she has been such a big asset for this team. I know people like hold their breath when she is doing her sweeper keeper thing, and she's like 30 yards out of the box playing as basically a third center back. But I think it's great. I honestly love it. I think it shows a confidence in this team and her ability and her teammates that to be able to play that way.
Yeah, I could get the nervousness around being a sweeper keeper and being 30 yards out, like you said.
Yes.
When she's good at it, when she's out there, I'm like, she can do it. So
yes, I honestly I've maybe had one moment where I was like, ew. I think for the most part, it pretty much every other time it's been like, yeah, let her cook, let her do her thing. She's
let her cook. Wow, did not expect that, but okay.
And most of the time, it's like she just has not. She's not let me down. So yeah, I love it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it just speaks to the way that this team plays and being aggressive and not kind of sitting back and which is kind of something we're used to.
I would say that I think in the second half it was a bit of a slower paced game.
Sure.
But hey, we were still going at it. We were still trying to get goals into the net, and that's what matters most, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the next game, after watching 2 SCFC games, there is something I would like to mention, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we're going to do a quick preview for the Steel City game after we finish talking about the Buffalo game. But yeah, I mean, and honestly, props to the Buffalo keeper for her second half. She did have a really good second half.
She did.
There were like 4 or 5 saves that could have easily been goals that were like, after a rough first half for her to then come out and kind of, lock it down.
Shout out to the Steel Army for giving her one heck of a first half, by the way.
Yeah.
Lethal.
Yeah. She definitely it definitely was a little lethal over there.
Yeah, a bit poisonous, but hey, you can rewatch the game, and I'm sure you can hear it.
Probably. Yeah, I on my rewatch, I was not paying close attention to what you could hear over the broadcast, and it seemed like the broadcast had some issues this game.
Yeah,
I went back to watch it this morning, and on Sports Engine, the broadcast picks up from like the 35th minute or something.
yeah, from like the 37th minute when
Yeah.
that Buffalo's already down 2-0. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what about
Yeah,
the
so
other two goals, man?
the only way that I was able to find the other two goals was just in like replays from when they showed it like at halftime.
Yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, so yeah, but yeah, that the whole second half though, I think it was a little more open. I think a little more back and forth because Buffalo was trying to get back in the game. We were obviously trying to hold off, but we still had a bunch of good chances in the second half. It just, obviously we were able to kind of keep it locked down on defense and maybe not quite, get some goals. But again, she had just had a great second half, that goalkeeper. So it was like, that there were some really good chances though.
Yeah, I think we're not dealing with the supporter section right behind you. I think you could have a little bit more headspace.
Yeah, you're free to think and act a little better.
Yeah, and what exactly is going on. There's not someone saying some words I probably shouldn't say here.
Mike will have to go in and bleep you out afterwards if you do.
I'm probably not going to, but obviously Buffalo's better chances came from the second half, like you said.
Yeah.
They did come out with some ferocity, but I think it was just a bit too late to come out with that being down 3-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I was glad to see that we also kept the clean sheet because, those second halves have been a little bit of something of a problem for this Riveters team. All of the goals that they've conceded have been in the second half. Most of them have been like after the 80th minute. So to not only be able to not, give up the lead or anything, but to keep a clean sheet, I think was a good statement of intent kind of for the rest of the season, kind of stamp their foot and say, no, we're not letting,
we're not anything like slip.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because even when it comes to, I think it was the Cleveland game, that was a pretty big slip up. So
yes, but even the Flower City game before that, we still held on, got the 3 points, but it was still 2 goals, in pretty quick succession after in the 83rd and the 90th minute. So so it was, they can turn a 3-0 lead into a
2-3,
a little bit of a scary moment towards the end. So the fact that they were able to hold off and not give up any goals was heartening for me at least. So I think it's about time that we switch over to our top 3. I'll let you take the lead on this one. Who do you have for your top 3?
Well, of course, number 1, we have to go Tanum Nelson, hat trick. Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'll probably have to go with Piper Caulfield just because she took on the armband. And I think defensively in the midfield, I think she did a really fantastic job at holding that down. But for number 3, I would like to give a shout out to someone on the bench in Mina Siam. Or maybe I'm mispronouncing it. Hopefully not.
I think it might be Sam.
Siam?
Somebody at the Erie game, somebody's parent said it's Sam when I said Siam. So I think it's
there's a Y there, so it throws me off. My bad. But
yes.
Yeah, she came off the bench with fantastic energy, and I think I just need to give props for that because when it comes to bench players or substitutes, I think sometimes we don't really give enough props to them. So when it comes to the Buffalo game, I think she did a fantastic job on really putting some effort into that game.
Yeah. So do you have her as your number 3 then?
She will be my number 3. Sorry,
okay.
I had to clarify. Right. Yes.
No, that's okay. So yeah, I think we talked about this beforehand. I have loved Mina's energy off the bench. I think she's been really great this year. I would love to see her get a chance at starting at some point. Of course, that's going to be a tough ask with Tessa coming back and that kind of thing. But even coming in as a super sub, I think just every all 4 games now that she's had an appearance, it's just been high energy and, willing to get kind of stuck in on some tackles and that kind of thing. Like she's willing to just kind of get in there. And
yeah, and I think that's just someone you want to not only watch on the soccer game, but I think that's someone that you want on your team.
Absolutely, yeah. So my top three was Tanum, obviously. I had Olivia D'Amico as number 2, and then Piper as number 3. Since we talked about Tanum and Piper already, I'll give my reasons for Olivia then. I think she always does incredible work in and around the box. She got the assist on the second goal, also putting herself up to a 4-match streak of goals and assists. Same with Thailand, by the way. And she had the cross for the third goal. It got deflected, so she didn't get the assist, but she had the cross for the third goal that ultimately landed at Tanum's foot for that goal. So that's why I had her as number 2. I honestly am very open to moving Piper up to 2. And I would even be willing to concede having Mina, but I think that's kind of a little bit more. I think it's hard for her because Olivia did have the 2 goal contributions, and that's where I start to kind of quibble with having Mina on there. So I do want to put out there that absolutely I think Mina's been great, and I would love to see more of her going on the rest of the last 4 games of the year and hopefully playoffs. But as it stands personally, I think we should go with Olivia for number 3.
Sure, that works.
All right. All right. So that's then Tanum Nelson number 1, Piper Caulfield number 2, Olivia D'Amico number 3.
Sure. But if Mike, if you're listening to this, if you could just somehow give just a half point, maybe, I don't know. Something, man. I
mean, honestly, I will say that, Liz and I have talked about Mina previously, and even earlier today, I was texting her for her thoughts about the game. I think that she is going to end up on this board at some point this year, especially if she's been dealing with an injury or something. If she continues to play well and get more minutes as we go on, I think she has a real chance of getting some points on that leaderboard for the year.
Yeah, with the way she's doing it on the field, I'm sure something will happen.
Something's going to happen for sure. And this week she looked a lot more competitive on the offense, which is, typically when she's come in for the other games, she's played more of like a defensive midfielder kind of role. And this time she was getting into the box for crosses and, and taking shots and that kind of thing, which I love seeing because it was definitely a different side of her than we had seen so far this year. And I thought that was impressive. And yeah, for my honorable mentions, I personally had Bella Bozar again, Desora again. Anna Marie Williams, I thought, had a really solid game. She got subbed a little early, so, but she's been holding down that midfield with Tessa gone. I mean, she's played every game so far this year, typically starting alongside Tessa, but with Tessa gone, she's kind of stepped up as the primary, kind of holding midfielder. And I thought she's had a few great games the last week or so. And then Pauline. I think she's.
I was going to mention, we're not talking about the clean sheet person here.
I know. Yeah, I think it's a testament to Piper that she didn't have as much to do.
I think it's a testament to the, defensive team, or just the team as a whole, rather than just how that functions.
Yes.
But yeah, sure. When it comes to Piper and just holding down that midfield, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think the Pauline didn't have as much to do this week because of Piper and the rest of the back line as well. When she did have something to do, she absolutely stepped up. But it's sort of the Eric Dick problem for the men. It's like he has maybe a good game, but did he have as much to do? Does he warrant being in the top 3? But I think definitely warrants a mention. And with that, we will kick over to Laura Ellen for her Hey Sir for this match.
And now, Hey Sir, 1-minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
How about them Riveters? My goodness. Oh, they are so fun to watch. They are so fun to watch. Also, I was thinking about it in the 60th minute. I'm like, 3-0. That's amazing. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. And then I realized this is Pride Raiser month. Oh my goodness, all these goals. Okay. Their first touches, so good. And then some of the splits that they were doing and just like tore Buffalo apart. It's in such an incredible way, just the passion that they're playing with it's just so exciting. They're so fun to watch. Again, I know I've been like saying it over and over again, but those first touches, like chef's kiss, so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, go Riveters. This is so fun. What an incredible season. Why can't we have them year round?
This has been Hey Sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
Wow, I love that energy. I really want. How about them ribs on the T-shirt now? There's so many things I could dissect from that. I love it.
Yes.
And when it comes to having the team being fun to watch, as someone who is taking photos of the team personally on the field, there have been so many times where I just be like, "Damn! Oh wait, click."
Yeah. No, I mean that at the end of the day, that's been my feeling about this team all year. I mean, even the Cleveland game, they were still fun to watch. They were still really good. Like clearly they cared, they had the passion. It was just like they just couldn't quite get it together that second half. But on the entire season, every single game, it's just been like, man, this team is fun. Like they're good at soccer. They're clearly better than pretty much all of their opponents. And it's just a matter of getting it together and being cohesive with what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting because when it comes to Steel City FC, like it is technically a road game, but it's the same city. So is it really a road game? I don't know. It's more like a down the street game.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think of what else to dissect from that. Like that whole comment of like, I want them year round. Super League, maybe? I don't like. I mean, it sounds like a Super League remark, but I'm not going to go into that. This is not a Kendrick Lamar video. Like playback, I guess. I'm just
we don't need to dissect it too much. I think. Yeah. I mean, it would be great to have them, even just for a full proper season. Not just the 10 games. But I would imagine that will be coming before long, based on the love that this team has been getting on and off the field. So speaking of Steel City, you just mentioned them. The Riveters play, depending on when this gets posted, whether it's tonight, Tuesday, or tomorrow, Wednesday morning. On Wednesday, the Riveters play at Steel City over in Cheswick. Games at 7 p.m. Tickets are as low as $6. Somebody said that tickets are going to be cut off online at noon on Wednesday. So if you are listening to this or watching this prior to noon on Wednesday and you want to go, grab those tickets now before you get cut off. If not, of course, the game will be on the ever reliable NBC Sports Engine Play. But Steel City themselves are off to a hot start this season. 2 wins, 2 draws. They've drawn the last 2 though, so they started off super hot and then kind of started to cool off a little bit. Maybe we'll give them their first loss. Fingers crossed.
I think we'll get to that.
This is the end of their. They were on a 4-game homestand. So this is their second to last home game of the season. They're the end of their 4 in a row. They're currently on 8 points across 4 matches. They're at currently 2 points per game versus the Riveters being at 1.83 points per game from 6 matches. So really, I mean, we have 1 more win and 1 more loss than they do. That's the 2 games that we have played over them. So if we can beat them both times and match the rest of the season, we're above them. But I know you've watched a couple of the games. Give me your thoughts on them. Who to watch? Who to keep an eye on.
So obviously, I have to talk about the Duquesne players that are on the
Sure.
squad. It's mainly Mackenzie Muir and Kayla Lasek, or that one of the Lasek twins. I am so sorry I forgot that. But yeah, of course, it's one of those two people that I've been watching mainly because as a Duquesne alumni, of course, I need to support my players. But it seems like when it comes to how that team functions as a whole, they really try to function in the midfield and really try to play a little bit creatively on the way towards the attack. As it comes to defense, it's not really something that is stiff, but they are definitely reliable, and you know that it's going to be hard to get into the box when it comes to crossovers. So that's something I want to keep an eye on. As compared to the team as a whole, I don't really know how this talent-wise it compares to the Riveters, because I know a lot of the SCFC players are mainly D2 NAIA players, and they're like a couple D1 players are mainly the starters. As compared to the RDA, it's pretty much all D1. So there is a talent level gap there. And I think it's also important to add that Steel City is on their last 3 games have been home games, and this will be the 4th home game in a row.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to the Riveters, I think we have a better understanding of how they function, and I think this will be a really good way to prove that they could get another road win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be I agree that it's a good chance for them to get a road win, especially considering Steel City seems like they're going to be the team to beat in our division besides the Riveters. They're the team that we're going to be competing for that playoff spot with. So definitely going up and getting certainly a win is the goal tomorrow for sure. I do know that I haven't watched as much. I think I watched maybe the first half of their game against, I want to say it was Cleveland. And they went down early and then got 2 goals back to take the lead. And I think that's how the game ended.
Yep. 2-2. Yep.
Yeah. I think it was 2-1. I think the Cleveland game was 2-1. I feel like that was their home opener.
Yeah, that was their home opener, but yeah, all the other games, those have been 2-2. My bad.
Yeah, I know the last 2 have been 2-2. So they are letting in goals consistently. Not that we haven't let in any goals, but
we did score 3 last game.
Yes, we've scored 3, which they have yet to do, I believe. And a couple of times now we scored 3. So I think it's going to be an exciting game. I know that Steel City is very excited about this game. They've been hyping it up on their social media.
Oh my goodness. They
I know you have feelings about the Battle of the Bridges.
Who's calling it that?
Apparently
you
Steel
are,
City
yes, but not Rivers, man. No. I was going to say the 3 Rivers Cup because we have a professional soccer thing going, but hey, Battle of the Bridges works, I guess.
Yeah, I know I know there was talk in the off season about trying to come up with names about including like Route 28 and that kind of thing, which there was some fun stuff coming up. People were kind of spitballing in the off season, but it sounds like at least Steel City has landed on Battle of the Bridges. I'm not quite sure what bridges
had
are in
a hype
Cheswick.
video. They've had graphics oh yeah, this is a good old rivalry. I really hope we just get a 3-0 blowout again. I really hope.
I certainly hope so. I don't want to jinx anything.
Knock on wood.
I think that. I think there's a good chance that we come out of that with hopefully 3 points. It seems like they definitely started hot. They've cooled off. I know I looked. It looks like both of their draws though were from coming from behind. They scored the last goal, so that's something to be aware of with the Riveters' woes with giving up late goals. So that's something for them to keep an eye on. I think obviously the ideal is that they come out, pull up 2-3 goals early, and then. If they slip up towards the end of the game, then then at least they've got a cushion. And hopefully it would be nice to see if they do concede one late, that they don't then turn around and give up another one, because that's when they've given up a goal late. aside from the Erie game, they've
tried to stop
dominoes. Yeah. So hopefully if they can just get even a 2-goal lead to start the game, then they can hold that, and that would definitely be a good statement of intent for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think, like you said, like it would be a good statement, especially if we don't like allow a comeback, even when it comes to getting a goal off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just no break, just all gas for all 90 minutes. That's what I was.
Yeah, I think. I mean, so and from what I've heard, it sounds like Steel City will have a good crowd there. I don't know how much of that is Riveters people buying tickets.
It's Riveters people.
I mean, it seemed like I know that the Steel Army went to their Open Cup game last year, their early rounds Open Cup game.
Oh yeah.
At Pitt. They had a good crowd there. Of course, that was for the men's team, but they had a pretty good crowd there. I don't know what they've been normally looking like because, of course, their broadcast angle is away from the stands. So I don't know. I don't know what their actual grandstand has looked like during those games. But either way, a good crowd is fun. I know that there's a significant number of Steel Army people planning to go. So, so we will definitely be there loud and proud.
I have to ask, is there going to be like any part of the vision in the Steel Army? Because I know Liz has a Steel City FC hat. So I don't know how this works.
He also has a Steel City FC magnet on her car.
Yeah.
No, I know that all happened prior to the Riveters. That was when that was from that Open Cup game that we went to last year. They grabbed that stuff. So no, I've teased Liz and Josh about that before, but I don't think there will be any split loyalties here.
Okay.
I think it's all going to be pro Riveters on this one. But I think that there might be a decent crowd for Steel City, but of course it won't be like a supporters section or anything. It'll be people's families and that kind of thing, and kids from their academy. So it'll be a different vibe. If there is a big crowd, but having a big crowd for Steel City, both at their back and also for the Riveters to play against a big crowd on the road, that's something they haven't done yet. So,
I just wonder when it comes to like other teams in the division, like how it compares like Highmark Stadium wise to all the other environments, because it seems like it's not even 100 people sometimes at the other crowds. So yeah, as compared to Riveters games, like we get a couple hundred, maybe close to 1,000.
I mean, I would say that we've had probably at least 3,000 people per game.
Yeah, I was trying to think. FC
even
Buffalo,
with the weather.
I know the rain kind of killed off a lot of people, but
it did. But the grandstand was still pretty full.
That's true.
Even if our section was pretty empty, the grandstand was pretty full.
And standing room, like you don't really count,
right? Yes, yeah. Those people, the people over by the pub and everything. There were always, there were people lined up all the way across for both that game and for the torrential rain game, the one against Flower City a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think that despite the fact that it's been bad weather for the Riveters since the first game, they have been drawing well. So. I don't know how Steel City's been doing this year in terms of attendance, but I imagine that this will be their biggest game in terms of attendance this year.
Yeah, most likely. You think for the whole organization as a whole, because I know they have a men's side, but I don't really know how that.
I mean, honestly, probably because they're not playing against any other teams that are like local like this.
Yeah.
And certainly against any teams that have like proper supporters groups. Right. That would, travel as much as Cheswick is travel for us. It's closer for some Steel Army members than Highmark. But yeah, so I think this will be probably, I would say it's probably going to be Steel City's biggest game of their season, men or women. So it'll be interesting to see, how they do, how it looks, how it all turns out. Weather's supposed to be good tomorrow, so hopefully,
a Riveters game with good weather. Oh my goodness.
I know. Yeah, I mean that'll be probably the first one since the home opener.
Yeah, most likely.
In general, I mean, even the Rochester game was cold. The away game was the Flower City game away was cold. The Cleveland game was rainy.
And the Erie was
Erie
here.
game, Erie was rainy and cold. So having a game, regardless of home or away, that is just nice weather is something relatively new for this team. So yeah, it should be fun tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll see a good number of folks there. Another thing that Laura Ellen mentioned, Pride Raiser. The Steel Army is once again doing Pride Raiser this year. Also, once again, supporting the Perseid Center, which is a wonderful organization that provides support in a variety of ways to the LGBTQ community in Western Pennsylvania and have been for over 50 years, I believe since 1972. Currently, between the men's team and the women's team, we are up to 6 goals from 3 games, 4 of them being from the Riveters. If you would like to sign up at steelarmy.prideraiser.org. You pledge per goal. I believe we're at 94 something right now per goal. So we're at however much. We'll be doing the scoreboard
right
tomorrow.
here.
After this, I'm actually going to put together the Pride Raiser scoreboard so that we can post that on social media. So keep an eye out there for the actual total currently.
564.
There you go, 564. And yeah, so it's good money, good organization, good time. It's fun to follow along and watch. Gives you just that little extra motivation when watching the games. That's, as Ariana likes to say, do it for the gays.
It's June, man, so I'm not against it. Yeah.
Yes, do it for the gays. The other point for this team right now, before we kind of just start to wrap up, is Tessa, the U.S. women, won the soccer tournament for the second year in a row. Tessa scored, I know, both in the semifinal and the final.
Great header to final, by the way. I just have
yes,
to throw that out there.
absolutely, yes. Fought for that header. The other thing of note, obviously Tessa has missed the last couple of games. The final was yesterday, Monday. Do you think that she is back and plays for the Riveters tomorrow?
I really, really hope so, because like you just said, she scored in the semifinal final. So hopefully that means she's on a good scoring run, and like she just has the mentality to keep going at it. Even if she can't win $1 million in the final. Anyway, I think in possibility, like odds wise, I think it's most likely 50-50. I mean, she's either flying back currently, or like as of now, or she's going to fly in early tomorrow morning, and we could only hope, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I mean, and part of that is the Riveters have yet to be scored on when Tessa is on the field. In the Flower City game, the road game, they subbed her out in the 81st minute, and the first goal that Flower City scored was the 83rd. So pretty much right after she was subbed off. In the Cleveland game, she was subbed off at halftime. Obviously, all 3 goals came in the second half. Obviously, she wasn't there for the Erie game because of the soccer tournament. So when Tessa is on the field, this team has not conceded a goal. With that said, what happens first? The Riveters concede with Tessa on the field, or the end of the season?
Oh wow! Trying to think. End of the season's what? Late.
I mean, we have 4 more games, including tomorrow.
Ooh.
Plus playoffs. Assuming we make that.
Wait, just concede in general?
Yet to concede a single goal with her on the field. Concede with her on the field. Yeah, that's the point.
I hate
Because
to
if they
be
sub her and they give up a goal, that doesn't count.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm pretty sure we're just going to have like one slip up. So Yeah.
No, I would put the odds on that as well.
okay.
But I just thought that was an interesting stat point that we have yet to concede a goal with her on the field across the first, I guess, 4 games of the year. And so with 4 more games left to go, hopefully we will see her back tomorrow, at least off the bench. That's always possible that she'll kind of be a super sub in the second half. And just we'll continue to have fun with her the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, hey, she probably just split $1 million with like what 10 other people. So hey,
it was more than that. I know.
Man.
I think it was determined they get about, each person gets about like 20,000 after taxes and everything.
Oh damn!
Because they have all the like the team media people, the team like the coaches, all of that. So yeah, but. Damn. I mean, it's not nothing. That's
hey man,
yeah,
for sure.
It's significant money, especially for a player playing pre-professional soccer. Yeah.
I mean, granted, NIL. Yeah. Anyway.
Sure. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, for women's soccer NIL, I don't know how much she's getting through sponsorship stuff.
Touche. Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting something. She is a nationally known commodity.
Yeah,
at this
she
point,
is on like the U20 national team. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure if someone's following women's soccer, they are bound to do something. But
sure, but but still, she is still a women's college soccer player. So I don't know how much she's getting through NIL, but I hope it is a lot of money, and because she deserves it. But yeah, I think that's about it for us. Did you have anything you wanted to throw out before we kind of wrap things up?
Shout out to Robbie Mertz for going to Nicholas Coffee today, and SCFC KFC ribs by 3. So
there you go. That's that ribs by 3. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this one. Ran a little long, I think, but that's all right. We had fun.
Hey, more content for us, man. Right?
Yes, absolutely. More content. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Peter, for filling in for Liz on this one. And we will see you all very, very soon.